Hello everyone, happy Friday. Today's book is The Berenstain Bears Go to Camp by Stan and Jan Berenstain. The Berenstain Bears Go to Camp. It's vacation time! Hooray, hooray! Let's spend it outdoors, let's get away. The Berenstain Bears Go to Camp by Stan and Jan Berenstain. It was the last day of school and the beginning of vacation. That wonderful time when little bears could sit around doing absolutely nothing. Brother Bear and Sister Bear shouted goodbye to Teacher Jane and hopped onto the bus for the happy trip home. Well, asked Mama Bear after a day of summer vacation, are you enjoying sitting around doing nothing? It's great, said Sister. Absolutely, said Brother. There's just one trouble with it, added Sister. There's nothing to do. Here, take a look at this, said Mama as she reached for something that had come in the mail. This is what it looked like. Tired of sitting around doing nothing? Come to Grizzly Bob's day camp. Summer fun for cubs of all ages. Swimming, canoeing, arts and crafts, sports and games, nature study, fully supervised. And don't forget our exciting overnight campfire powwow and sleep out. Some of the things looked interesting, but Brother wondered what fully supervised meant, and Sister wasn't so sure about that overnight sleep out. It sounded a little scary. Where is this camp? Asked Sister. Not far, answered Mama. How will we get there? Brother wanted to know. A bus comes for you in the morning and brings you home in the afternoon. Sounds a little like school, said Brother. Well, think about it. We'll think about it, said the cubs, and went back to doing nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. They picked wildflowers, chased a few butterflies, turned over a few rocks, and thought about it. Mama, could we try Grizzly Bob's day camp just to see if we like it? They asked. Of course, said Mama. A couple of mornings later, Brother and Sister were in camp shorts and t-shirts, and all ready and waiting when the bus came. And Grizzly Bob didn't look much like Teacher Jane, and the camp didn't look anything like school. Grizzly Bob had built his camp beside a lake at the edge of the forest. There were log buildings, a flagpole flying the camp flag, a big bulletin board with the camp rules. There was certainly a lot of rules. Some interesting paths, a roped in place to swim. There was even a big red canoe. Bob had made name tags for the cubs. You're the campmates now, so you'd better get to know each other, he said. Then he took them on a tour of the camp. There was an office with a desk where he did his paperwork and a first aid corner full of bandages and things for cuts and bruises. There was a rec hall to go into when it rained. Rec was short for recreation. There was a picnic place and a barbecue pit where they roasted hot dogs for lunch. Sister burned hers a little, but she traded another cub who liked burnt hot dogs. Bob announced that after lunch they would all climb up Spook Hill to the very top of Skull Rock, the special place where they would have their end of camp powwow and sleep out. It was quite a climb. That evening, Mama and Papa Bear were eager to know how the cubs liked camp. "It was okay," said Brother, "but they sure have a lot of rules." "It was all right," agreed Sister. "They sure had plenty of bandages and stingy stuff for cuts." But what they were both thinking about was Skull Rock and the end of camp sleepover. Especially Sister. The second day was different. Brother had a great day. He passed the swimming test and was allowed to ride in the canoe. Sister didn't have such a good day. She played dodgeball, and some of the cubs threw pretty hard. The third day, Sister had fun. She got a star for a birch picture frame she made in arts and crafts. But Brother hurt his knee in the wheelbarrow race. The fourth day, both of them had fun. And every day after that. So much fun that they forgot about Skull Rock and the sleep out. Almost. Papa found the sleeping bags that he and Mama had used on their honeymoon, and when the camp bus came on the morning of the big night, Brother and Sister were ready. Sort of. The climb up Spook Hill wasn't so hard this time, even with backpacks. The cubs were strong and tough from their summer camping. Tomorrow would be field day, the last day of camp, when their parents would come to watch their games and contests and see awards given out. But for now, all the cubs could think about was the big sleep out. It was just beginning to get dark when they reached Skull Rock. Grizzly Bob built a campfire. Then he went into a small cave. When he came out, he was dressed in a beautiful Indian costume. Then the cubs sat in a semicircle, and the powwow began. Bob told them old Indian legends of the great animal spirits, the story of the great grizzly as big as a mountain, the soaring eagle who filled the sky, and the mighty salmon whose colors made the rainbow. As Bob told the old stories, the cubs could almost see the wonderful creatures in the firelit smoke as it curled up into the night sky. After the powwow, they had cocoa and honey bread. Then they curled up in their sleeping bags, and soon they were all fast asleep, even Sister. The next day, Brother and Sister did very well in the field day games and contests. Brother won a trophy for finishing second in the dash, and Sister got medals for the dead bear's float and for her bead belt. It was almost the end of summer school. Was the almost end of summer. School would be starting in a couple of weeks. "Well," asked Papa, "how did you like camp?" "It was great," said Brother, hugging his trophy. "It was great," agreed Sister, wearing her medal proudly. "But you know something? After Grizzly Bob's day camp, school will be like a vacation." The end. The second book we will be reading today is The Berenstain Bears, Dollars and Cents by Stan and Jan Berenstain. The Berenstain Bears, Dollars and Cents. Cubs like their own money, their own dollars and cents, but to spend it or save it, what makes the most sense? The Berenstain Bears, Dollars and Cents by Stan and Jan Berenstain. Money wasn't a big problem in the Bear family's treehouse down a sunny dirt road deep in bear country. But it was a problem, at least where Cub's brother and sister were concerned. They knew some things about money. They knew that Papa wasn't made of it, and that it didn't grow on trees, and that they should save it for a rainy day. Papa had told them those things many times. What they didn't know about money was how to manage it. The Cubs liked money. They liked it even before they knew you could buy things with it. They liked coins better than paper money because you could do things with coins. They liked to roll them. They liked to spin them. They liked to stack them. As they got a little older, they liked to play heads or tails with them. But by keeping their eyes and ears open at the supermarket, the hardware store, and the clothing store, they soon learned that you could do a lot more with money than just play with it. You could buy things with it. That would be $7.50. That would be $9.20. That would be $11.10. You could buy all sorts of things. Ice cream from the Good Humor Bear. I have peach orange with Jimmy's. I'll have nutty chocolate cherry. Rides on the bucking duck at the mall. Hi-ho, duck! Balloons from the balloon bear at the park. I'll have red. I'll have blue. As time went on, the Cubs learned more about money. They learned the difference between the dollar sign, which was an S with two lines through it, and the cent sign, which was a C with one line through it. And while they were still fond of coins, they learned that you could buy a lot more with dollars. Papa, may I have $5? Baseball Bob is having a big baseball card sale. Papa, may I have $10? My Barbie doll is getting married and she needs a wedding dress. Baseball cards, wedding dress, shouted Papa. You must think I'm made of money. You must think money grows on trees. The Cubs backed away. All they wanted was some green money. All they got was Papa red in the face. Mama had been watching. She knew it was time to calm things down, and she had an idea how to do it. If you Cubs will excuse us, she said, there are some things I'd like to discuss with your Papa. My dear, said Mama, it's not going to do any good to shout at the Cubs. It is much as our fault as it is theirs that they don't understand about money. It's up to us to teach them how to manage money. But how? Asked Papa. I suggest that we begin giving them a regular weekly allowance, she said. Said Papa. That's an interesting idea. Then perhaps they will learn to be more responsible about money. An allowance, said Sister. What's an allowance? Asked Brother. An allowance, said Papa, is a sum of money that you will get at the beginning of every week. It will be up to you to manage it, to spend it or save it as you see fit. The Cubs looked at each other as if they didn't believe him. It seemed too good to be true. And here's your first week's allowance, said Papa. Brother and Sister looked at the small pile of money Papa had placed in front of each of them. Then they grabbed the money and went out the front door, down the front steps, and on the road to town, faster than you could say, weekly allowance. Said Papa. Double, said Mama. When the Cubs returned, they each had a pile of candy bars, bubble gum, and trading cards. They had spent their whole allowance on the first day of the week, and they did the same thing the next week, and the next, and the next. It was clear to Mama and Papa that the allowance idea wasn't working as planned, and it certainly wasn't teaching the Cubs how to manage money. The Cubs would quickly eat the candy bars and get tired of the other things they bought. Then they would mope and groan because they didn't have any money left for the rest of the week. "Mama," said Brother, "I don't think this allowance idea is working out." "I agree," said Mama, "but what do you suggest?" "A bigger allowance," said the Cubs as one. "Possibly," said Mama, "but that's something that we'll have to discuss with your Papa." "Well, let's discuss it with him right now," said Sister. "Oh, no," said Mama. "Papa is balancing the checkbook. I never interrupt your Papa when he's balancing the checkbook." Checkbook, thought Mama. Our checkbooks help Papa and me manage our money. It gives us a chance to think about how we should spend it. It gives us a record of how much money we have spent and how much we have left. Mama went into the kitchen. She rummaged around in the cupboard drawer. It was filled with things she wasn't quite ready to throw away. Among the things were some extra checkbooks that were left over from when she changed banks. But how to explain the idea of checks and checkbooks to Cubs, she wondered. Mama told Papa what she had in mind. Then she explained the idea of checks to the Cubs. "You mean you're taking away our allowances?" protested Brother. "Not at all," said Papa. "As a matter of fact, we're increasing your allowances. But instead of giving them to you at the beginning of each week so that you can go out and spend them before they burn a hole in your pockets, we're going to hold them for you. Then, when you want a little pocket money or want to buy something, you write out a check." "Here, I'll show you how it's done. First, you make it out to cash, like so. Then you put how much it's for, in words as well as numbers, so there can't be any mistake. Then you write what it's for on this line and sign it at the bottom and on the back. Then you give it to Mama, and she gives you the money and keeps a record. It's that simple. Pay to the order of cash, $3. For a book, Brother Bear." Brother got the idea right away and gave Mama the check for $3, and she gave him the cash. He changed his mind about spending $5, half his allowance, on baseball cards and bought a book of baseball instead. Sister changed her mind too. She decided to save her first week's allowance and buy the Barbie wedding dress with her next week's allowance, so she would still have $10 left. "Now that's what I call money managing," said Mama to Papa. The end. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. See you next time. Bye.